Predator cubs told everyone humans fix broken things. The fleet started bringing them. Their hearts, the Galactic Council had always maintained one unshakable truth. Humans were terrifyingly efficient predators. Their forward-facing eyes, their persistence hunting instincts, their ability to function on minimal sleep, all marked them as apex creatures who had clawed their way to the top of their death world's food chain. But what the Council hadn't anticipated was what happened when those predators decided to fix things. Dr. Sarah Chen didn't look particularly predatory as she hunched over her workbench aboard the medical frigate Hippocratic Oath. Her coffee had gone cold 3 hours ago, and her back ached from the position, but she barely noticed. Between her steady hands lay the equivalent of a Vrax heart, a complex biomechanical organ that pulsed with both muscle tissue and crystalline circuitry. "It's dying," Commander Threx had told her when he'd shuffled into her lab, his 6 legs moving with the uncertain gait of the elderly. The Vrax warrior had seen 200 cycles of combat, his carapace scarred from a dozen wars. But his voice had trembled like a cub's when he'd placed the small containment unit on her desk. "My grandson's heart. The specialists on Vrax Prime say there's nothing to be done. The crystalline matrix has fractured beyond their ability to repair." Sarah had taken the container without hesitation. "Let me see what I can do." That had been 6 days ago now. As she carefully threaded a microscopic filament of synthesized crystal through the damaged lattice, she thought about the conversation that had started all of this. It had been 9 months prior, during the integration ceremony when humanity had finally been granted full membership in the Galactic Council. The human delegation had brought gifts, not weapons or technology or resources, but repaired things. A Kellian heirloom music box that hadn't played in 3 generations. A Thorian data core that contained the only remaining copies of their pre-spaceflight literature. A Zix mobility harness that had been deemed irreparable by every engineer in the quadrant. All fixed. All restored. All given freely. The Kellian ambassador had wept openly. The Thorian archivists had declared it a miracle. And the Zix elder had walked without pain for the first time in 40 years. Word had spread, like quantum entanglement. Through the fleet, humans fixed broken things. The younger species whispered to each other, the ones the Council called predator cubs for their recent emergence into the galactic community. Not just machines, everything. Sarah completed the final connection and activated the diagnostic scanner. The heart pulsed once, twice, then settled into a steady rhythm. The fractured crystal matrix glowed with renewed coherence, the organic tissue surrounding it responding with healthy contractions. She allowed herself a small smile. "Welcome back, little one." The door chimed and Sarah looked up to find not Commander Threx but Admiral Kethis of the Draven Empire standing in her doorway. The Draven were ancient predators themselves, their civilization spanning millennia. Kethis was a legend, a warrior who had unified 3 sectors and brought peace through strength. He was also carrying a small box. "Dr. Chen," he said, his voice carrying the grinding quality of his species' vocal apparatus. "I was told you might be able to help." Sarah gestured to a chair, but the Admiral remained standing. He set the box on her desk with a gentleness that seemed at odds with his massive clawed hands. "My daughter," he said simply. "She was a scientist, brilliant. She was studying the subspace anomalies near the burning rim when her ship was caught in a dimensional shear." He paused, his secondary eyelids flickering. "They recovered her neural matrix. Intact but dormant. Every specialist in the Empire has examined it. They all say the same thing, the damage is too extensive. She's gone." Sarah opened the box and found herself looking at a sphere of organic crystal, shot through with networks of bioluminescent pathways. Even inactive, it was beautiful, a work of art and science combined. "I cannot promise anything," Sarah said carefully. "I know." Kethis met her eyes, predator to predator. "But I heard what you did for Threx's grandson. I heard about the Kellian music box, the Thorian archives, the Zix harness. I heard that humans don't just fix things because they can. They fix things because they believe broken doesn't mean worthless." Sarah felt the weight of those words settle over her shoulders. "That's true. We do believe that." "Then please," the Admiral said, and his voice cracked just slightly. "Please try." Over the next 3 weeks, Sarah's lab became a pilgrimage site. The word had spread further than she'd imagined possible. They came with broken things, not just mechanical failures or simple repairs. but the pieces of their lives that mattered most. Aquelin brought the family genome archive, corrupted by radiation. A Scree brought her partner's memory crystal, damaged in combat. A Morthrin brought seeds from his homeworld, which had been sterilized by plague. Each one came with the same desperate hope in their eyes. Each one had been told by experts that their precious thing was beyond saving. Sarah worked, and the other human specialists aboard the Hippocratic Oath worked with her. Dr. Okonkwo specialized in genetic reconstruction. Engineer Martinez could coax life from the most stubborn machines. Botanist Liu had a gift for understanding life in all its forms. They were humans, persistence predators who had survived ice ages and asteroids, who had looked at impossible problems and decided to solve them anyway. They fixed things. Not all of them. Sarah was painfully aware of her limitations, aware that some damage truly was irreversible. But even then she tried. Even when success was impossible, the attempt itself meant something. Admiral Kethis returned on the 30th day. Sarah had called him 3 days earlier to tell him she'd succeeded, but he'd insisted on coming in person. When she activated his daughter's neural matrix, and the crystal began to pulse with coherent thought patterns once more, the Admiral of the Draven Empire, veteran of countless battles, conqueror of systems, legendary predator, dropped to his knees and sobbed. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you for believing she could come home." Sarah helped him stand, this warrior who towered over her, and squeezed his arm gently. "That's what we do," she said. "We're humans. We fix broken things." Later, as her shift ended and Sarah finally went to her quarters for sleep, she passed a viewport and paused. Outside, the fleet stretched across the darkness. Hundreds of ships from dozens of species, all working together to explore and protect and grow. Once, they'd called humans predators and had feared them for it. Now they brought them their hearts and hoped. Sarah smiled and continued to her quarters. Tomorrow there would be more broken things waiting. More impossible repairs. More chances to show the galaxy what humanity truly meant. They were predators, yes, but they were predators who had learned that the strongest thing you could hunt was hope itself, and they never ever gave up the chase.